If I can have your attention for about 5 or 10 minutes, I just sent you an email that has all these URLs in it, but I very quickly wanted to go over a couple things with you. When I say quickly, you'll see what I mean. All right. I mentioned some of these products before, but I want you to see them. There is a thing that's out there, and again, you have all these URLs. There's a thing called JSBin out there. So if you want to, you can actually separate your screen here into 4 pieces. You can type any HTML you want over here, any CSS you want over here, any JavaScript you want over here, and the output will show right there. So you'll notice if I come in here and I put in an H1 tag, it's pretty obvious what happens there. And if I come in here and I say H1, you can see instantaneously what happens. So it's a way, if you want to do this, that you can bring in all 3, the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript. So that's JSBin. All right. There's also JSFiddle, which pretty much works the same way. The thing that's nice about JSFiddle is if you're working on it and you have a problem, let's say you're working on something and you have a problem. If you click save, it creates a URL for you. And then you can save that URL and you can show it to other people, or you can send it in. They've got like help, etc. So this one I may or may not have mentioned to you before. I think I did. It's CodePen, and there's a free CodePen and there's one that you pay for. So if you sign up for a free account, you can save what are called your pens. And if I click new pen in here, it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, so I can put HTML in here. All right, same kind of thing. I can come in here and put in CSS, I can put in JavaScript. All of them are used. All right. Yeah, I believe. There's a thing called JS Runner. A few years ago, I used a book that was written by the person who created this tool. This is solely a JavaScript tool. So if you look in here, I've created a very simple JavaScript program where I create a couple variables, and then I call this function. Then another couple variables, and I create that, I call that function. If I do this and I run it, nothing's going to happen unless I literally call main, because that's what does everything. So you'll notice that when I do this, it does this, then it does this. All right? So it's just another way that you can come in and you can test your stuff. So that's all of these right here. The second thing is, and I don't know about you, but when I was a full-time student and I got an assignment, a lot of times I would just sit there and I would read it, boom, and I'd start working on it. Okay? And I didn't do a lot of investigatory work. Well, when I was going to school, I didn't have the internet like you do. Yeah, and I had to walk up, I had to walk up a hill to school every day and walk up a hill going home and all that other stuff. But the point is, there's a lot of features and a lot of functionality out there. I didn't realize this. There is, and I'm not going to play it for you, but I'd suggest that you take a look at this. It's a 7.5-minute long video that this guy made. You can actually take a PSD and bring it right into brackets. And when you bring it into brackets, you can grab sizes, you can grab fonts, I didn't know this. I was looking at something else this morning and this came up. So especially those of you who are having a hard time pulling out your assets, grabbing those, the images, you might want to take a look at this. All right? This goes along with it. There's an article I found from PSD to CSS with brackets. Again, you've got this also. The Brackets Extension Manager. Now, I mentioned this to you before the other day, but I want to make sure everybody sees this. So if I come in here and I bring up brackets, and you click, it doesn't matter what the file is, but if you click here, it runs it. You know that if you click underneath that, it brings up the Extension Manager. And these are all of the different things that you can add if you're so inclined to brackets. Well, one of those that you can add is called Extract for Brackets. and it's designed to work with Adobe and with PSDs. All right? And here's a little bit more on it. Again, you've got this 2 brackets, 1.0 and extract for brackets. And then finally, I found this thing while I was looking out there that was on GitHub. How to use brackets. You know, the download, etc. There's a bunch of, there's a cheat sheet at the end of stuff that you might want to use most often, etc. But there's also a thing in here on that live preview. And they talk about how you can work with this stuff. So it's something you might want to take a look at a minimum. And again, you're going to do whatever you want to do anyway. But at a minimum, I would strongly suggest that you go out and find that, where is it? That YouTube video and take a look at that. Again, you don't have to if you don't want to. But especially if you're struggling, or if you're struggling at all with this stuff. The guy is easy enough to listen to. Heck, it's 7.5 minutes long. You can usually get some kind of a gauge as to how good it is by looking at the ups and downs. You know, 247 out of 253 people liked it, which means 6 didn't. The person's voice is pleasant enough to listen to. All right, but again, I'm trying to give you some resources, especially those of you who are having any kind of problems with this stuff. All right? Now, I'm going to spend Saturday, I'm going to probably start in the afternoon, grading your midterms. All right, so the last exact time I want you to send them to me is noon on Saturday. All right, I was hoping we have them by noon on Friday, but if you really need it, you know, tell me how I screw up your Friday nights. All right, but if you need to, you can turn it in, because that's when I'm going to start grading them. All right, I don't know how I'm going to grade these, because that back page has got almost 40 things you're supposed to be doing. I don't know if I'm going to just check them off. I don't know what I'm going to do. All right, but I imagine that these probably won't be the kind of things. I'm not going to have them all graded in an hour. All right, but I'm looking at it, if I can even do one an hour and do, you know, 4 or 5 of them on Saturday and the other 4 or 5 on Sunday. Just so you know, for various reasons, all I'm saying is this, is Eric is not going to be in the class any longer. All right, that was a decision that he made, so he's gone, as far as I know. All right, any questions on anything I just gave you? Again, if you get time, please take a look at this. All right, that's all I've got. That wasn't bad. That was under 8 minutes.